Welcome to Newsmax TV. I'm Kathleen Walter. Democrats suffered their biggest defeat in decades, losing control of the House and clinging to a smaller majority in the Senate. Joining us now via the phone with reaction is former New York City Mayor and Newsmax contributor Ed Koch. Good to have you here, Mayor.
Pleasure to be with you.
Republicans picked up many more than the 39 seats they needed to take control of the House. What did Democrats do wrong, and what should they have done differently?
Well, it is no surprise. I believe it was not a question of communication, which some say was wanting, and that the president failed to get across his message explaining the legislation. I think it was the legislation. I believe, for example, the best example, that the legislation known as the Comprehensive Health Bill is not supported by a majority of Americans. I happen to support the concept, so I urge that it be passed, but I'm not happy with it. I just got a premium notice from my insurance company that my premium is going to be 43% higher this year than it was last year. It's that kind of situation that has caused the American public to rise up in its wrath.
Should President Obama change his policies moving forward?
Absolutely. In fact, I expect that he will now reach out to the Republicans who have taken the House of Representatives. I think that they switched something like close to 60 members of the House, and the Republicans have 60 more people than they had before. So now it will be a matter of negotiation. If the president wants to get something done, he will have to negotiate with the Republicans.
Do you favor a full extension of the Bush tax cuts?
I believe no. I believe that the president is right and wrong in his view of the Bush tax cuts. I believe everybody has to do something, and so I would raise the limit from $250 to $350 to continue with the Bush tax cuts, and those whose annual income exceeds $350, I would restore the old tax lineup that existed pre the Bush cuts. If you want people who are now receiving Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security to cooperate and accept reductions, which is what this country ultimately needs in order to deal with its budgetary deficits, then the rich have to do their job too. Everybody has to pitch in.
Right now, both Republicans and Democrats are turning their attention toward 2012. Do you see President Obama facing a primary challenge from perhaps, say, Secretary of State Clinton?
No, I don't think she will challenge him. She is of the old school, loyal, and would not, in my judgment, challenge him. If he does get a challenge, I believe it will be from the radical left wing of the Democratic Party, but I don't know any names that have surfaced yet.
All right. Well, you so no other candidates that you have in mind?
No. I believe he will be the candidate of the Democratic Party, and he has a chance of getting reelected if he pulls in his horns and engages in a bona fide negotiation and seeks a partnership with the Republicans on legislation.
Mayor, you get high marks for taking on the unions. In New Jersey, Republican Governor Chris Christie is doing a similar thing. What type of presidential candidate do you think that he would make?
Superb. I think that Governor Christie is perceived quite correctly as the poster boy for governors today, showing remarkable courage and success. I think it's very likely that he will be one of the top 2 or 3 contenders for the Republican nomination for president.
Would you consider endorsing him?
Well, listen, I have crossed party lines before, rarely, in terms of the numbers of Democrats that I've endorsed. But I told Governor Christie, who came over to New York not long ago to address a rally, that I think very highly of him. And so while I would prefer to endorse a Democrat like Scoop Jackson, if there is one out there, I don't rule out my endorsing Governor Christie, but I don't at this moment plan on doing it.
Okay, well, in New York State, Democrats keep the governor's office, the attorney generals, and the comptrollers. Are you worried about a one-party system in Albany?
Absolutely. I supported Dan Donovan for attorney general, and I regret that he lost. I said at the time that all the candidates for Attorney General, Democrat and Republican, are qualified, but I believe in checks and balances, and I want somebody, when the Democrats or the Republicans are going to have a sweep of most of the statewide offices, someone from the other party, whatever party that happens to be, looking over their shoulder.
All right, last question real quickly. Looking at President Obama's policies in the Mideast, do you see him changing his seemingly non-sympathetic stance toward Israel?
Well, he has changed it. Whether it's bona fide or not, we'll only know when he's tested. But as of this moment, his statements and his positions are very supportive of Israel. But unlike the situation before, where I accepted him at face value and face words, so to speak, that's not true anymore now. I accept his statement, but I look to his actions to justify continued support on the issue of his actions towards Israel.
All right, former New York City Mayor Ed Koch, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Newsmax TV.